You know that thing that happens when the AC kicks on and the lights flicker for just a second? Or when a breaker trips and you have absolutely no idea why? We kind of brush those things off as just, quirks of an older house. But what if they're not just quirks? What if they're actually symptoms of a much bigger, older problem that's hiding right behind a metal door in your wall? Today, we're going to open that door and take a hard look at what's really going on with your home's electrical system.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start by uncovering that hidden danger in your home. Then we'll meet the main culprit, something called a split bus panel. We'll get into the serious safety risks, then talk about the modern way to fix it. We'll even see what a real professional job looks like, and finally, we'll look ahead to what this all means for your home's future.
All right, so think of your house for a second. It's always talking to you, right? Creaks, groans. Well, sometimes it's whispering warnings, and we need to figure out what those electrical whispers are trying to tell us.
Okay, let's start with that classic one. You turn on the microwave and the kitchen lights dim. It seems so small, so harmless, but that little flicker? That's your entire electrical system taking a deep breath and struggling to keep up. It's basically gasping for air because it's being pushed to its limit. And honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
And let's be really clear here. These are not just little annoyances. Every single one of these is a red flag. Breakers that trip all the time aren't just doing their job. They're screaming that the system is overloaded. If you hear buzzing or smell something burning, that's an emergency waiting to happen. A panel that's warm to the touch means there's a problem inside. And if your insurance company actually calls out your panel, that's an expert telling you, hey, you have a recognized liability in your home. You really got to listen to that.
So what is this thing causing all the trouble? Let's go ahead and pull back the curtain and meet the main character in this whole story, the split bus electrical panel.
Okay, so in a modern house, you have that one big switch at the very top of the panel, right? The main breaker. You flip that, and everything goes dark. Simple. But the split bus panel, it doesn't have that. It was designed to save money back in the day by dividing the circuits. You'd have a top section for the big stuff, like your dryer or stove, and then one of those breakers would power the entire bottom half of the panel. It was a workaround, really, from a time before big, reliable main breakers were common.
And you can see these panels are from a totally different era. They were put in homes when the biggest power hogs were, a fridge and maybe one TV? By the mid-'80s, our lives were changing, we had more gadgets, and safety codes got a lot smarter, so these things were phased out. The thing to really get here is that an electrical system that was designed for the age of Leave It to Beaver is now trying, and failing, to power a home with laptops, smart speakers, and giant TVs in every room.
And all of this brings us back to its single, most critical design flaw, the one thing that makes it so risky. There is no single off switch for your entire home. Just let that sink in for a second. No master switch. So, how does not having one main switch turn this old piece of tech into a real danger? Well, in the world of electricity, obsolete doesn't just mean old-fashioned like a rotary phone, it means it's dangerous.
This right here shows you the problem perfectly. Imagine there's an electrical fire. The first thing you or a firefighter needs to do is kill all the power. Now, with a modern panel, you run to it, you throw one switch, and you're done. Power's off. With a split bus panel, you might be frantically flipping up to 6 different breakers, trying to figure out which one turns everything off. Those seconds, those moments of confusion, are a massive safety risk.
Now think about this number, 40, as in over 40 years old. That's the typical age of the parts inside these panels. The little switches that are supposed to trip and save your home from a power surge, they've been sitting in that wall for 4 decades. They weren't built for the kind of power we use today, and after all that time, their internal parts can just get old, brittle, and fail to do their one job.
And that age leads directly to these huge dangers. An old breaker might just not trip when it's supposed to, which can easily lead to overheating and fire. The panel itself just doesn't have the juice for modern tech, like an EV charger. It absolutely will not meet current electrical codes, which creates huge problems with insurance. And maybe worst of all, if a part breaks, you can't just get a new one. They don't make them anymore. So any repair is really just a risky patch job.
Okay, that was a lot of scary stuff, I know. But here's the good news. This is a problem with a clear, straightforward solution. So let's pivot away from the problem and talk about the action plan.
So the protocol here, what all the experts recommend, is pretty simple. First, you just identify the signs we've been talking about. Does any of this sound familiar? Second, and this is crucial, don't guess. Call a pro. A licensed electrician can tell you for sure what you've got and what condition it's in. And third, if they confirm you have a split bus panel, the recommendation is almost always the same: replace it. This isn't something you patch up. It's a fundamental safety upgrade for your home.
So what does a full-blown replacement even look like? What's involved? Let's walk through what a real professional job entails. We'll use a common scenario from Northern Virginia, an area with a lot of homes from this era, as our guide. See, a real pro doesn't just show up and swap a metal box. It's a process. It starts with a deep dive inspection. Then they do something called a load evaluation. This is so important. They figure out not just what you use now, but what you might need in the future. Are you thinking about an EV, a new AC unit? They'll size your new panel for all of that. Then they install the modern panel with that beautiful single main breaker. And finally, a true professional handles all the paperwork, the permits, the inspections to make sure the job is done right and is 100% up to code. And this is what you should be looking for from any company you hire. These are the benchmarks of a quality job. 100% permit success rate. That means they know the local codes inside and out. Using master electricians, not apprentices, that guarantees you're getting top-tier expertise. A solid warranty protects your investment. And things like financing just make a critical safety upgrade like this one more manageable.
We've talked about the danger, and we've talked about the solution. So let's wrap this up by looking at the bigger picture. What does an upgrade like this really mean for you and your home down the road?
I think this quote just says it all, really. Upgrading isn't just about getting rid of an old risk. It's about setting your home up for the future. It's about being ready for the tech we use today and the tech we're all going to be using tomorrow.
So when you really look at it, the payoff is just massive. First and foremost, you get peace of mind. You know your family is safer. You get a house that can actually run all the cool stuff you wanted to. You're clear with the code in your insurance company. And as a huge bonus, you're often increasing the actual resale value of your home. It's a win-win-win.
So I'll just leave you with this one final question to chew on. Think about the electrical heart of your home, that panel in the basement or garage. Is it ready for the future? Or is it an old relic, just stuck in the past, waiting for a much-needed upgrade